Well, hello and welcome to the beautiful Hallcroft Fisheries. A lovely spring day, the sun's out, bit of a windy day, but today I want to run through one of my key factors when it comes to fishing. Keep your fishing simple. And with that frame of mind, it allows you to concentrate on the job at hand and concentrate on the feeding patterns and how to catch the fish rather than setting up a multitude of rigs. So today I'm going to run through the process of what I'm demonstrating, which is fishing meat on the bridge pool at Hallcroft Fisheries with one rig. I'm going to go into it a little bit more detail, but the concept behind it is fishing one rig, a deck rig, at all depths with 2 tins of meat. That's all we're allowed here now because of the bait limits. And let me tell you, it's so effective. And if you use it right, you have a great day's fishing and you catch everything from roach, skimmers, bream, and a lot of carp as well. And it's a really enjoyable way of catching fish on commercials across the country where meat or pellet is allowed. You can apply this principle to pellet fishing as well. So I'm going to run through the rig that I'm using, how I'm presenting it, how I'm feeding, my elastic setup, everything, and hopefully I'll put that to use on your local venue and catch a load more fish. So let's get fishing. Let's talk in a little bit more detail about what's going through my head, how I'm going to be actually approaching today. I suppose when it comes to these commercials, it can be a little bit daunting. We've got an expanse of water out in front of us, but a key point to remember, we're in the spring now, fish want to feed. Like all forms of nature, they want to put body weight on ready for that spawning period. So let the fish come to you. So I've picked literally one line, I'm fishing at 13 meters. I'm using a deck rig, and as I've stated already, I've got with me 2 tins of meat. I've used about a tin up to now, so I'd say I've got about a tin left, and I've had an unbelievable day's fishing, especially with the skimmers. And all I'm doing is I'm feeding with a catapult. These are 6mm cubes of meat, all nice and uniformed because I've put them through a meat cutter, and I'm putting one single piece on the hook, and then I'm feeding with a catapult. Now the principle behind it is I'm fishing a deck rig, so immediately people think that you're going to catch fish on the deck. Well, if you shot this rig correctly, you can manage to catch fish at all depths, right from the surface down to the bottom. So you're literally creating a universal rig that does everything. So the principle behind it is I've got a 0.6 gram rig on. This is a Mick Wilkinson diamond. It's a hollow bristle, beautiful floats for big baits such as meat, corn, hard pellet, that you've got that buoyancy, but you've got that stability which aids your bait presentation, and that's so important on these open, windy waters. Now, to the rig itself, I've got 019 Aero Slick Silk mainline, nice and durable, and it also balances with the hook length that I want to be using on today, which is an 015 of the same material. Hook length to a Kaizen size 14. But more importantly, let's talk about the shotting pattern, because that is what presents your bait correctly. So as you can see, I've got a spread bulk. Now the beauty about a spread bulk is it gradually descends the bait at a slower rate, but more importantly, because I've dispersed the shot apart, it keeps the rig straight. And that's really important, because if I'm trying to catch fish on the drop, if my rig is straighter, that means when a fish intercepts my bait, I've got a greater chance of seeing that indication on the bristle, because the line is straight and it's falling down in an arc, but in a straighter line than a bulk and droppers, so to speak. So I've literally got a tapered shotting pattern, starting from the top and gradually widening out as I work down to an 8-inch hook length. Not a 6-inch, but an 8-inch, because again, I want to create that lovely natural fall. So let's ship out and hopefully we'll get a few bites. Now the key thing is, when you ship a rig out with the intentions to utilize all the depths, I want to flick my rig out. And it's really nice and simple, because you can imagine the rig now as I'm shipping it out is behind the pole. So when I get to my marker on my pole, which is there, I push the pole forward, swing the rig out, and it lays in a beautiful straight line beyond my pole tip. Because what you've got to remember is I'm loose feeding particles, and not all those particles are landing where my float is. Some of them are landing beyond. The clever fish are beyond the pole tip, intercepting bait at a shallower depth. So if my rig's falling in that area, they're going to grab my bait. I'm going to get an indication. Here we go, straight away, we've got one. Without actually feeding, as that hook bait was dropping, the fish are taking it on the drop. It's so, so effective and so simple as well. And with 2 tins of corn, or meat, or pellets, you can have a fantastic day's fishing with this principle, regardless of the species that you're after. I mean, actually, as bizarre as it sounds, hello, mate. That is, by far, the smallest skimmer I've had all day. But look at him, a typical Hawcroft skimmer. Let's put him back in the net, in the keep net, and hopefully catch his granddad. Now, you have to be disciplined with this feeding pattern if you want to catch on a regular basis. You have to feed on a regular basis. As soon as you stop feeding, why would they want to take your hook bait? The feed around your hook bait is what attracts the fish, whether you're fishing for skimmers, roach, carp. I mean, look at this. We're catching all species today. Richard the roach. And all I'm doing is hooking one piece on, and this is about the hook that I'm actually using. I'm using a Kaizen size 14 because I actually want quite a big hook coming out of the side of the meat. In a way, it's more like a hair rig if you think about it. If I've got a big hook sticking out of the side of a meat, when a fish grabs the bait, there's greater chance of it actually hooking itself against the point of the hook. And that means also, if I miss a bite, the meat stays on the hook for a longer period of time, which means I can just lift my rig up, check my baits on, swing my rig back out and carry on fishing. Now you can tell that there's some fish there now because I'm getting bites within 15 seconds of my rig hitting the surface. So you can imagine it helps you read as your rig is falling at what depth the fish are intercepting your bait. And going on how my float is working and the time it takes me to get a bite, the fish definitely are intercepting the bait in the bottom third. They're not on the bottom, and they're intercepting the bait on the bottom third. And this is why it's so important to keep that bait going in. And I reckon I've been fishing now for 2 hours, and I've had well over 40 pounds of bream. Well, this is what it's all about. Catching bream nearly every single cast. What a great day's fishing. And as I've already advocated, so enjoyable and simple at the same time. But this is the stamp I've been catching all day long now. And what beautiful fish they are. They're a lovely stamp. Look at this. Stunning. Look at that. Stunning. That's what it's all about.